Hi everyone, welcome to see this video. In this video, we are going to talk about electronic voting, as known as e-voting. There are 4 parts in this video. We will first give a general introduction of the electronic voting, and then discuss the attacks that may face, and the defensive models to defeat these attacks, and finally come to summary. In recent years, electronic voting has been accepted and put into use more universally. The reason is that the voting system, compared to the conventional paper voting, has multiple advantages. First, because of the convenience, much more citizens will participate in the voting process, and the voting system can avoid massive cost of collecting and counting ballots compared to the paper voting. And in the meantime, it can also satisfy the need of psychologically disabled. And because of the participation of more citizens, it can extremely prompt the democratic voting process. And of course, it also has some shortcomings. It lacks a common standard between states, and it's very hard to certify the confidentiality and reliability of e-voting. In the ideal case, the e-voting should guarantee some criteria and principles to keep the confidentiality and reality. Those are very hard to achieve in actual situations. The system can only be accessed by the authenticated voters, and each voter can only vote once. And for the confidentiality, ballots should be kept in privacy, and personal details of voters should be in high security. And for the reality, the voters can make sure that their ballots have been really collected, and the voting system have exactly collected every single ballot.
In the second part, I'd like to talk something about voting attack. Voting attacks are classified into 3 parts. First, the client is the most vulnerable to the attack because users' network environment is uncertain and lacks awareness of defending. The attacker may entice the user to click on a highly similar fake web page, causing information leakage, or directly control of the hardware system. Once the hardware is controlled, the output will be message attackers want, no matter what we input. Then communication channel attacks. Communication channel attacks occur during message transmission. They are classified into active attacks and passive attacks. Active attack means that the transmitted messages have been tampered with or completely replaced, such as man-in-the-middle attack. Passive attack means that the attacker only intercepts and analyzes the messages. This will cause a privacy leakage of the voters. This is not only a violation of voters' rights, but will be a factor of the election result. For servers, denial of service is what we are worried about. In a local election in the United States in 2018, a server collapsed abruptly, causing the voting system to crash for nearly an hour. The reason is identified as the sudden influx of the large abnormal traffic. The IP addresses are from both the United States and overseas. This reminds us that if no mechanism to limit traffic, the influx of abnormal traffic will be a disaster.
There are 2 models that I would like to introduce here. First is the blind signature model. As the name indicates, the model uses blind signature technique to receive the signature of authority parties while hiding the real votes. Hence, no one really knows the exact vote during the process of voting. This slide shows the basic procedure of voting. There are 3 parties: the counter, voter, and the administrator. The voter encrypts his vote and signs the message before sending it to the administrator, after verifying the right of the voter. The administrator signs and encrypts the votes. When receiving the message, the voter recovers the signature of the original vote, then sends the vote to the counter. All the votes will be collected on the board and made public to all. 2 components are important here. The anonymous channel hides the link between the voter and their ballot, and the board is made public, so everyone could check their vote has been counted. There are some advantages of this model, like no man-in-the-middle attack unless the key is break, and no massive modification. However, the model could be affected by DOS attack, and has no offense on client risk and server risk. The second model is homomorphic encryption voting model. proposed by Kramer, used the special property of a homomorphic encryption algorithm to establish the universal verifiability in large-scale election, while retaining privacy for individual votes. This model has simple voting procedure, but there are four main components are important for this voting scheme. The bulletin board is used for publish all the votes. Every time a user put forward a vote to the board, it will be shown on the board with signature checking for accessibility. A key point of this scheme is threshold algorithm crypto system. As the slide shows, the decryption key for the final cipher is shared among multiple authorities. The threshold here means the complete decryption key could be constructed as long as given number of parties provide their shared keys. A tricky here is actually the ciphertext is not decrypted by revealing the complete key. This slide shows the tricky of homomorphic encryption algorithm, while algorithm decryption method actually satisfy this principle. Finally, when every authorities parties have a right to push vote on the bulletin board, they must prove the validation of their vote, like it actually contains one of the value, like here, the M1 and M0. The basic voting procedure is like this. The voter put their ballot to the bulletin board, and after voting period, authorities validate the vote and calculate the result cooperatively. The advantage of this model is defending DOS attack. This could be achieved by designing the bulletin board as a set of replicate servers, implementing patenting agreements. The drawback could be that this model is relatively not flexible and limited to binary value votes.
Now let's talk about the MaxNet model. The MaxNet model uses a chain proxy server which could Max to encrypt the message based on the public key cryptography. A simple MaxNet can be shown as below. There are mainly three steps of this model. First of all, it gathers the vote from the client and then it encrypts the vote and then shifts them, pass them to the next server, and the main server stores the result. After the end of the election, it will publish the result. And then let's talk about the message format. The message format can be shown in this formula. Here are mainly three parts of this format are be shown. The random message R0 and R1. This is used to prevent an attacker from guessing message. And the right side of the formula is the next envelope. The next envelope is the secret message and the destination of the recipient D. The left side of the formula is the layer envelope. It means the encrypted next envelope at each server. The main advantage of this model is that it breaks the direct link from source and destination by Max. It keeps the message untraceable and the message pass and shifts through the server, so it's hard to analyze what is the secret message. And also the proxy server set can guarantee the channel can work even attack shut down some proxy server. It can efficiently defeat following attacks like release of message content, message modification, traffic analysis, and reply. Unless the attacker can invoke all the servers. The disadvantage of this model is that it can't verify the identity of the source, and if attackers know which server is the destination, a DOS attack can invoke the whole system. Also, it costs high to maintain all the servers. Then the Benelux model. The Benelux model assume a powerful government can thread the election anytime, so instead of send all the voting to one central government, so the voter should share their vote with any sub-government, and the key technology is Shellman's secret sharing schema. This goal is to divide the secret in one piece, and the K is a threshold set. Knowing K or more pieces of the secret is easy to compute and reconstruct all the whole secret, and it's impossible to compute the whole secret with any K minus one or fewer piece, and because it takes K points to define a polynomial of degree k-1. For example, 2 points can define a unique line. The advantage is that it's difficult for attacker to fork mode because at least k pairs of share need to be modified, and each server has its own encryption and decryption algorithm, and the location of this server is hard to the attacker, so it is hard for attacker to attack all the server. And as we have k sub-server as backup, DOS are not useful for this model. Even if attacker can hack at least k server, we can still use other server to check if the result is reliable by using cross-verification, and these attacks can be prevented. The disadvantages are similar to the Max model. It needs a high cost to maintain all sub-server, has high communication cost, and the authentic check cannot be provided.